Hey guys, it is JG Gaming Channel here, back again, and I've never done this kind of video before. It's currently 6:15 p.m. October 7th, 2025 on a Tuesday. And I'm making this video because this is something I really need to get out of my chest, and one day I will make a far superior video version of this, as this is just me putting my phone face flat on the surface, so that's why it's black. And yeah, like I said, I will do a much better video this Sunday because there's a lot of things that I want to talk about on this channel, of things that are misunderstood and aren't realized. Like, I want to do a video on so many things. First, I would love to do a video on Star Trek The Motion Picture and Shadow the Hedgehog 2005. Right now, I'm doing a video on what I consider to be the best Macross in the entire franchise, Macross 7. And the thing is that I don't think it is. I think it's objectively the best Macross ever made, and the best OVA is Macross Plus. But I think that no one's really gonna argue with you on that, because let's face it, the lineup, isn't like on par with Plus. I mean, I love Dynamite. I love everything Macross 7. I mean, if I had to choose, I mean, it would I think Macross Dynamite would beat Macross Plus anyway, but in terms of like having a story that is completely new and you don't know these characters, then because it's kind of unfair, it's kind of unfair to uh kind of compare Macross Plus and Macross Dynamite 7, because Macross Dynamite 7, you already know these characters, and they're developing them more, as in Plus, you don't know these characters, and this is a new story. Right. So that's why I wouldn't, like, in a, like, let's say a top 10, right? Or just like a whole ranking of the entire franchise. I can't put the TV shows, movies, and OVAs in the same list. I can't do that because it's not fair. Because, like, say you're comparing Super Dimension Fortress Macross to like Macross Zero. Like, you can't do that, because there's only like, what, 5 episodes of, yeah, there's 5 episodes of Macross Zero and 36 episodes in SDF. Like, you can't really do that because there's so much more time in SDF. Like, it's like that. But onto Macross 7 at 6:18 p.m. Okay, so it's very, very misunderstood. But here's the thing, is that Macross 7 has, without a doubt, the best characters, the best story, and the best music in the entire franchise. Because guess what? Macross 7, it took everything from Super Dimension Fortress and turned it on its head and brought some new things to it. Because you know what? Macross 7 is the only Macross where the music actually matters. And what I mean by that is, especially in the TV show of Super Dimension Fortress Macross, the music doesn't really mean anything. And I've known about, and let's talk about the movie real quick. Do You Remember Love? I've known about the song, Do You Remember Love, which is the title of the movie. I've known about that song for years, and every time I heard it, I always thought, wow, that's, it sounds like such a pretty song, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know that much Japanese, but it's like, it's a very pretty song. It sounds great. And when I watched the movie for the first time, I can't tell you how disappointed I was with the movie. It's such a popular movie. It's like, I think it's like as popular as like Akira, right? I mean, well, both of those kind of go hand in hand with like the best animation in like film history, at least Japanese film history. But dude, the thing is, the story in Do You Remember Love dude, I was so disappointed because it was so inferior to the TV show. And I already have a lot of problems with Super Dimension Fortress, the TV show, but I have even more problems with the movie. And plus, the Do You Remember Love song? Okay, so it's a song from the Protoculture. Bulldoza had the lyrics, I think, and Misa found, like, I think it was like the the instrumentals or something, right? And dude, the thing is that song, it's a great song, but it doesn't fit the movie at all because they're playing a love song during like a huge battle of killing a bunch of people, right? Like, how does that go with the plot? And here's another thing is that it's not even like Minmay's own song. The song has no impact whatsoever within the story. And this is where I get into with Macross 7. This is something that I learned from Macross 7 with the music actually mattering in the story. Because with Basara, Neki Basara, the main character, music is so important to Basara. It's his character. And the way he sings, what he sings, it matters to him, right? And he's pretty much the only character in Macross history that's like this. And they kind of did it. They kind of did it with, what's her name? Ranka and Freya, you know, from Macross Frontier and Delta, respectively. And, like, they kind of did it there. And I think they did a good job, but it just wasn't nowhere near as impactful as Macross 7 because, and here's another thing, Basara is the best main character, or just the best character in any Macross. Because you know what? Basara struggles. He struggles. He's misunderstood. You know, music is so important to this guy that, you know, he's not some sort of brave soldier, you know, that you know went out into battle, you know. He went out into battle interrupting the military because he wanted the enemy to hear his music. He wanted to change people with his music. Minmay never wanted to do that at all. She never really cared. I mean, yeah, the thing is that there's nothing wrong with just liking to sing, but the thing is that Macross 7 put up such a standard that Macross has to have because all I would say every single Fire Bomber song and even Milen's own songs, they always mean something. Whether it's inspirational, beautiful, or just it I mean, there's just no song in Macross 7, at least like TV show and Dynamite. And I get there is a couple of new songs in The Galaxy is Calling Me, I think. But the thing is that every song that that at least Basara sings, means something. It's either inspirational or beautiful or everything. And that's something that Super Dimension Fortress does not do. None of Minmay's songs actually mean anything. They're not going, you know, it's not like about her is what I'm saying. You know, and the only two songs, I'm serious, the only two songs that I can say confidently that are Minmay, like as Minmay as a character, is the song that she sings at the end of episode 36 when she realized she messed up with Hikaru, and Angel Paints from the end credits of Do You Remember Love, and also it's in Flashback 2012. Those are the only songs that Minmay, that I hear Minmay as a character in her songs. Everything else, like, yes, Minmay's songs are so good. I'm not saying that they're not. What I'm saying is that they lack personality, they lack emotion, power, which I'm not kidding. Like even Ranka and Freya, like their songs, because Ranka and Freya, they have such good songs when it's like their own music. Even, and I'm serious, like even just like Ranka singing about like advertising about food and advertising the like a Valkyrie toy or whatever it was in the movie, the first one. I can feel the personality just like in the song, because Ranka as a character, she had motivation. She had to be motivated. She struggled to get to the point that she got to, because Alto really helped her, you know, get over her fear of singing in front of people and stuff like, and that was so good. I thought that that was great. And I like Freya's motivation too. She heard all these like musics from, all the way from Minmay to Cheryl and Ronka. And that's why she wanted to sing. She liked doing it. And the songs that she sings, like, okay, the end song, the first ending theme of Delta is so good because it's Freya singing just like about herself, and it sounds so good because that's filled with so much personality. There's no personality in Minmay songs, and you know what? And it's funny too because I thought that the song "My Boyfriend Is a Pilot," I thought that that was about Hikaru, but like it took me forever to realize that Minmay was never even into Hikaru in the first place. So I don't even know where that song came from. Like all the songs that she sings, they don't mean anything. You know? They don't mean anything. And Basada's music always means something. Like even in the middle of the show, when Milan notices that Basada is singing differently, like he starts to sing differently, he starts to act differently. This guy struggles. He struggles to get where he's at. He even like stops singing for a while when they're on that planet. He just like leaves the Macross 7 island and just, is around some like sand place or something. And he leaves because he doesn't know why he's singing anymore. And yes, Minmay did go through this same thing, kind of, because I guess Kaifun was very abusive and stuff like that. But the thing is that Basada, I mean, especially when he was like singing to Civil, and trying to wake her up, he kept trying and trying, and he felt like he wasn't good enough. And dude, the part that hit me was that when Gigil, he was literally crying when he saw that Basada just kept singing after he kept hitting him. He was like, "Who are you? Who are you singing for?" And he was like, "Who am I?" I was like, "Dude," because you know what? Basada changed Gigil and Civil, and he changed Gapelnich. He changed people from his passion of his songs. It is the only Macross that, in fact, they don't kill a single bit of the enemy themselves. The military never kills any bit of the enemy themselves. In fact, the enemy kills themselves, really. I mean, Gigil, I don't know if he meant to kill himself, but his power was so strong that he ended up like destroying the entire planet and himself. And I mean, dude, Basada actually changes people. And what seriously doesn't work in the original Macross is, what is the song supposed to do? I mean, even okay, so the in the TV show, the reason why the Zentradi started to change is not because of Minmay. I mean, yeah, sure, that's what caught their attention, yes, but they also saw that there was men and women together, which they don't do, right? So then when the three spies went into the Macross, they saw all this, stuff, like food, entertainment. That's what changed the Zentradi. It was not, yeah, sure, maybe Minmay songs is what started it, because, culture shock. But the thing is, the culture shock, all it really was shown to do was to freeze them up. In the movie, that's all it does is freezes them up. It doesn't, they don't change from Min May's songs. All, all the songs in Macross, both TV and movie, that the music does is freeze them up, make them confused so you can kill them. That's all that it functions to do. And Min May is just a tool. That's all she is. Literally anybody could have done her job in both the TV show and the movie, and it would have been the same. But nobody can do Basada's job except for Basada himself. And it was so funny. I felt like they made fun of that in Macross 7 because there was Sound Force, and they recruited in that one episode they recruited a bunch of people, and actually in that one episode the voice actor for Hikaru was there. And I feel like they were making fun of it because when Sound Force became a thing and then they were recruiting a bunch of other singers and training them and all that stuff, and they did terribly because you know what? They don't have the passion. They just went there to sing and stuff like that. They were basically there to be the Min May, basically, in battle. And they sucked. They couldn't do it at all. And again, I feel like that they were making fun of that. And Macross 2 was the same thing. It was just do Super Dimension Fortress again. And that was it. I don't remember Macross 2. I remember having a fun time with it, but I'm not kidding. Kind of shortly after, I forgot everything about it. But yeah, so Macross 7, the way that Basada is as a character, he's the only one that can do this. And even in the show itself with the what do you call it? Those sound power up things, the song energy. Even Milan was nowhere near the power as Basada. And yeah, Milan is passionate about her music too. I think her music's great. But I guess it's Basada's on a whole nother level than Milan that she couldn't even get close to his power. And even in this one scene where they're gonna trap this one Proto-Delvin, Milan had to get in way closer, very dangerously, just so it was compensating for the fact that her power level basically was much lower than Basada, right? I mean, that just shows how powerful his singing is, his passion and everything. And Basada, I mean, just as a character, man, again, and this is something that I realized as I was watching Macross 7. And, just over time, things are starting to hit me weeks later, even now, with Macross. This is the only time that kind of just I watch a show and I know what I think of it, but then it's with Macross, every single Macross that I've watched, it's weeks later I start to realize new things that I didn't before. It's it hit me. I saw it, but I didn't realize it. And something that I was realizing a few weeks ago was that I understand what people meant by how the difference between Luke Skywalker and Rey are so much different. I always heard about the difference between Rey and Luke is that Luke struggled to get where he was at, and Rey, got through it pretty easily, making her an uninteresting protagonist because, basically having someone perfect isn't very fun to watch, right? And this is something that I was okay, that makes sense, right? But then it wasn't until Macross 7 and then weeks later when I realized, I know what they mean now. I understand what that means, the struggle. Because see, Basada struggles a lot with who he is, what his music is, and he feels like he isn't good enough, and he does his best to be his best. He struggles, and I understand that now. That's what made Macross 7 so interesting. The characters are all so interesting, and Basada, he struggles a lot, and that made him such an interesting character. You want to see him succeed. And that's something that the other Macrosses don't do as well. And Hikaru, he doesn't really struggle. The most that he struggles with is the love triangle, which, let me tell you, the after story actually really infuriated me because he was such a terrible person. Hikaru was such a terrible person, man. Like, blowing off a date with Misa, causing her to drink. Like, dude, he actually made me mad because, like, why did they do that? Why did they write him to be such a idiot and a jerk too? Like, lying to Misa too? Like, dude, come on. Because you know what? Another thing, a thing that Macross has a massive problem with, is commitment. And what I mean by that is Macross tends to bring up things that they don't fully complete. I don't know what word to look for, but what I mean is this first happened with Macross, the original Macross TV. In the narration for, I think it was episode 2 or 3, the narrator said, about Hikaru seeing the Zentradi for the first time and how it frightened him. And then the narrator said, how is this going to change Hikaru? Is he, and all that stuff, right? And then I was thinking, dude, you know what? This will be really interesting. Like, dude, is he gonna change based on being in the military now? Like, is he gonna get some sort of like PTSD sort of thing? Is it gonna really affect him mentally? No, nothing came from what that narrator said about Hikaru's personality possibly changing because of the events. Nothing happened. He stays the same throughout the entire show. And this is a problem with Macross as a whole. Macross Frontier, they never ever really explore Alto's Kabuki past. It's the story is basically like a is he or isn't he sort of thing, but they never fulfill it. They never fulfill it at all. In the two movies, they do sort of a better job, but they still don't say, well, what is he? What is he? Especially in the TV show, it's like, dude, just tell me, what is it? And then in Macross, I think Macross Delta is like the worst offender here because there's this, Hayate is probably the most one-dimensional character in Macross history. But there's this thing, when he dances, like in the mechs that he uses, it's literally only brought up like a few times. And I thought that, okay, him dancing in the mechs, in the mecha, right? I thought, okay, that's interesting. Why does he like to dance? Why does he like to dance? What's up with that? I want to know. And they never ever elaborate on it. And here's another problem with Macross as a whole. And keep in mind, when I say as a whole, I'm omitting Macross 7 because I have little to no complaints about Macross 7. Is that why is every single main male character in Macross just destined to be the best pilot ever? SDF, he's a pilot. Macross Plus, he's a pilot. Macross Zero, Shin is a pilot. Macross Frontier, Alto's destined to be a pilot. And I think one of the worst offenders is Macross Delta because apparently it's like, oh, well, Hayate doesn't know what he wants to do. He's gone from planet to planet, not knowing what to do. And I do like that, Freya actually, motivates him to actually do something. But the thing is that, oh, so you're telling me his destiny is to become a pilot? Really? Again? Dude, why? And the thing is, Basada he knows, I don't know how he knows how to handle the Batroid mode because, by the way, he only handled the Batroid mode in his Valkyrie. He never did, use the Gur walk or the plane mode until like he had to, and then media had to, teach him how to do it because he kept like bumping into buildings and stuff. Kind of like Hikaru in episode 1 or episode 2. No, I think that was episode 1. But or the Macross special, Booby Trap and Countdown. But yeah, like Basada's not destined to be some sort of pilot, and yeah, Max did comment on his ability that he's really good. But the thing is that it was never alluded to the fact that he was destined to be some sort of a pilot. He just knows how to do it for some reason. That I don't know. They never do explain how he just knows how to use that. At least with Luke Skywalker, he was like, he was like a tinkerer with things. But yeah, Basada was never destined to be some sort of pilot. What he's destined to be is to be the best singer he can be and sing out his passion for music. Macross 7 is such a powerful, powerful series of TV shows and OVAs. The 49 episodes, plus the 3 episodes from Encore, which is technically episode 50 to 52, The Galaxy's Calling Me, a 30-minute movie film that was actually in theaters. Dolby Stereo, too, actually. Which is kind of weird. It's actually AC3 on Laserdisc, but not Macross Plus movie edition for some reason. But yeah, there's that, the movie, and then Macross Dynamite, the 4 OVAs. Yeah, like, it's such a powerful series of like episodes and movies and stuff, and it's never been matched before or since. And you know what? I think Macross 7 has to be Shoji Kawamori's favorite Macross because this is the one that's referenced the most aside from like the original. Seriously, like even in Macross Delta, like those little kids were singing Remember 16. They kept saying Fire! Bomba! Like stuff like that, right? And also, yeah, you want to explain to me why Shoji Kawamori celebrated the 30th anniversary of Macross in 2012 with Macross 7. It's called FB7, which I imagine stands for Flashback 7, Galaxy Flow Solar Spirit, depending on the translation. Listen to my song. You're telling me that, he totally could have done an anniversary with the original Macross, and then you could probably say, well, what about Flashback 2012? You already did that. Well, maybe. But he decided to do Macross 7, and that was such a great experience to watch because Macross 7 is great. And again, Macross 7 is the only one where, like, there's not a bunch of deaths at the end, kind of. Because there's always, like, that kind of, like, a huge battle sort of thing. SDF, a bunch of killing of Zentradi. Macross 2, I don't remember. Macross 0, I don't know how to explain that, but Macross Frontier, there was a bunch of killing as well until they found out that the Vajra weren't a problem, and then Macross Delta, there was also a lot of killing, but the thing is that Macross, what I think is that Shoji Kawamori, after Macross 2, because Macross 2 he wasn't involved with it at all, from what I know. So in 1994, I say that Shoji Kawamori came back with an absolute vengeance because Macross Plus and Macross 7 it's his best work in Macross history. Again, best OVA Macross Plus, which I imagine no one's really going to argue with that fact, but Macross 7 is the best Macross of all time. And again, one day I want to do such a detailed review of this. When I learn how to edit and stuff like that, I'll put scenes, I'll back up my claims with visuals, with dialogue. I want to learn how to do that stuff because with some of these things, I'm so passionate about what they mean because it's so much more than people realize on a surface level. And it's the same thing with Star Trek the Motion Picture being the best Star Trek film of all time and the most beautiful film. And the thing is that with Star Trek the Motion Picture and Macross 7, I can compare it like this. They want to tell you something. It's like they mean something. The storytellers, they want to tell you something. It's a passion project. Because the thing is that like film, television, anything, they're not just they're not all just forms of entertainment. Sure, you can have your comedies and all that stuff, but the thing is, like things like Star Trek the Motion Picture and Macross 7, they're more than just a television show. They're more than just a movie because it wants to tell you something. It has something to say. And I can feel the passion in Star Trek the Motion Picture, Macross 7, because I know that the writers deeply care about these characters and this story. Macross 7 has such beautiful music. Star Trek the Motion Picture has such a beautiful story, beautiful music, gorgeous effects. There's so much more than just, than the story and the characters. The thing is, from what I've learned like a lot from watching all these Japanese stuff. I watched everything from like 1974 to 1990. Well, I mean more than that, but I'm saying like it started in 1974 and I ended in 1990, starting with Space Battleship Yamato. I've learned so many things from these things. And the thing is, I attempt to be as objective as I can. In fact, that's all I want to be. People are of course entitled to their own opinions. Everyone has one, but the thing is, what I want to do is I want to be as objective as I possibly can, if all that I can, because I don't want subjectivity to get in the way of what I'm trying to say and what I see. I don't want any sort of bias. I want complete objectivity, to be completely fair and to see what is on screen, what is in the dialogue. Because I can see things now. After seeing so many of that stuff, I can see things that I've never seen before in my life. If it was like a couple months ago, I was watching Star Trek on Laserdisc. I was seeing things that I've never seen before on first watches. I saw new things, and it's like a completely different world, man. And the thing is that these stories are so good, and Shadow the Hedgehog is very misunderstood too. If you really want a true Shadow the Hedgehog 2005 experience, just watch everything from 1998 to 2009 in Japanese. It's if you want to know, it's Wendy Gitlord on YouTube. Shout out to her. And dude, the thing is, Sonic the Hedgehog can have great stories too. He used to. Sonic X is incredible. And the Sonic stories used to be really good. I don't care for them now. And I've said this before, I really wish that my 33-hour stream of Sonic Frontiers at launch day. No, it wasn't launch day. It was like a few days later, but I wish I was there because I had so many things to say about it because I just did not care. It's like it tried to be something it wasn't. and it didn't work at all. And I can't believe people say that that story is any good because it's not. It sucks. It sucks. I mean, after the Japanese stopped writing for the stories like themselves first and then being translated in English, starting in 2010 with Sonic Colors, that's when it went downhill. I mean, Sonic Free Riders has a terrible story, which is really shocking because I think that was written in Japan. But yeah, like, it's something else, man. And again, one day I will, because what I want to do is I want to talk about things that are so misunderstood, people don't understand it, and I want to have them understand what these stories mean. Not to me. What they mean, I want to say what they mean, what they're trying to say, and what they are, because Macross 7 is an misunderstood masterpiece. And I can't think of any flaws in it. The only thing that bothers me is that they don't, they never conclude, who does Milan love? And they never fulfill on that. And they did that in Macross Frontier 2, and that was annoying. But in The Wings of Farewell movie 2, they did it kind of, and whatever. But yeah, because with things that are flawed, and people try to defend it, and it's like, oh, yeah, I can see the good points, but it still sucks, right? But that's not the case with Macross 7. I'm not trying to pick at things, little things that don't matter, to try and justify why I see that Macross 7 is the best Macross. I'm not doing that. I'm not picking little things here. I'm grabbing gigantic pieces, handfuls here. I don't know if my analogies are good, but the things that I'm picking are right there, right in front of your face. And people don't like the Proto Delvin. They think they're stupid, but the thing is that they work for this story. And the thing is, if you think that they're stupid, I could say so many things that are so stupid about Macross. You know what I mean? Because, okay, here's one of the last things I'm going to be talking about, because I'm bordering on 37 minutes. I'm at 37 minutes and 32 seconds here. But okay, here's a complaint that I've heard about Cars and Cars 2. Why Cars works is because, you believe that they're cars in this world because of how they structure everything. It works for what they're trying to do. And what Cars 2 messed up is that they have, human appliances all over the place, and they really mess up that vibe. And no, I've never liked the suspend disbelief stuff. No, I don't like that at all. I don't like suspend disbelief, because I do not need to suspend my disbelief for something. If you can make something that works for a universe, and I don't have to suspend my disbelief because I can believe it's happening. I don't have to suspend my disbelief that in Star Trek that there's these giant ships that can go at warp speed, right? I don't need to suspend my disbelief in Star Trek Enterprise that the NX-01 is a giant ship that can fly out into space. I don't need to suspend my disbelief in that. You know why? Because in this universe, it is, well, one, yes, it is the future, but two, it works. It works because, it's all based in science stuff that I guess we can't do yet. I don't know. But the thing is that Star Trek works. I don't have to suspend my disbelief that they're out in space. And there's nothing stupid that they do that, is lore breaking or whatever, to this story. I never need to suspend my disbelief in Star Trek. And I don't need to suspend my disbelief in Macross, because you know why? Because there's aliens in Macross. Giant green aliens transforming freaking planes. You're gonna tell me that giant green aliens, especially in the movie, giant green aliens, Bulldoza is part of this giant beehive looking thing. You're telling me that that's not stupid. You're not gonna tell me that the Valkyries that could change from a battle robot to like a half plane, half walking thing. You're not gonna tell me that that's dumb? Really, really? Okay, you're gonna tell me the Proto Delvin's dumb? Really? And the thing is that also in Macross TV, like the protoculture that they made all these species, right? This is space, okay? Star Trek is the same thing because you got your Vulcans, you got your Romulans, you got your Jem'Hadar, you got so many of these things because it's space. You don't even know what you're gonna find in space, right? Do you know what you're gonna find in space? No, you don't. So you're telling me that the Proto Delvin is stupid? They're literally supposed to be the devil, and Basada is like he literally tames freaking devils. And that's another thing. Basada can tame little freaking devils? That just shows how powerful music can be in Macross. That he was able to do that all on his own. Well, I mean, he had the help of Sybil, yes. But the thing is that that's another thing. Macross 7 is the only one to really show that Basada being able to tame literal devils, right? That shows that his songs are so powerful, so meaningful in everything that he was able to tame these devils, these literal devils. And you're telling me that doesn't mean anything? Because again, you can say so many things in Macross that are quote unquote stupid, right? Again, the giant green aliens, Sharon Apple, the bird people from Zero, the Vajra. Like, you can say that about any Macross, right? But the thing is that whatever they put in Macross, it works basically. And here's another thing. There is no such thing, from everything that I've watched, there's no such thing as a bad Macross or a bad Macross story. The worst it can be is weak. And that's what Macross 2, Macross 0, and Macross Delta have. They have weak stories. Meaning, weak. What I mean by weak is that the weak stories mean is that there's something there. There is something there, but it is not compelling enough. I was on the brink of being bored with Macross 0 because it wasn't interesting. Now, I wasn't bored, but I was on the brink of being bored. But with Macross Delta, yes, I was bored. Because for the most part, the Windermere stuff wasn't that interesting, but there was something there. There was something there, but it just didn't compel me. And it was, Macross Delta is, very political in a way, and there's something wrong with that. I hear that the Yamato remake series is very political. There's nothing wrong with political stuff, but it just wasn't interesting in Macross Delta. And the thing is, I know what a bad story is. I've seen the sequel trilogy. I was bored out of my mind with Rise of Skywalker, and The Last Jedi is a terrible, terrible movie. I know what a bad movie is. And something that the word bad does not go with Macross at all. Yes, I have my many complaints about the entire franchise, except for mostly with Macross 7. But the thing is, there's no such thing as a bad Macross plot. The worst it gets is that it's weak. And the thing that kept me interested in Delta was the characters. Macross Frontier had good characters and a good story, but Macross Delta had mostly a weak story with interesting characters. And that's the thing. You can have a bad plot but good characters, or good characters and a bad plot, bad characters and a good plot. But that's the thing, is that, again, there is no Macross that is bad, just a weak story that is not very compelling. Because, again, a weak story, at least in my terms of Macross, means that there's something there, but it just didn't captivate me. it was kind of boring, right? So that's I guess that's mostly all that I wanted to say. I mean, again, there's a lot more, and one day, again, I want to share my feelings on so many things and change people's minds about so many things, about things that I'm passionate about and things that mean something. Again, Macross 7 means something. And it's the best Macross. It's the most detailed Macross. Because you know what? It has the most content out of any Macross. And the thing is, yeah, like a bunch of content doesn't always mean good. I know that. But the thing is, from my experience, Galaxy Express has the most content out of any Reiji Matsumoto like franchise. Basically, 113 episodes, two feature films, two OVAs, and a 13 episode TV series. And Macross 7 has 49 episodes plus Encore, which is 3 episodes that never aired, which is technically, again, episode 50 to 52. Then you got a 30-minute feature, the 30-minute film that was in theaters, Dolby Stereo, 1995. And then 1997 and 1998, you got Macross Dynamite, 4-episode OVA. And it has the most content. Oh, yeah, there's also Macross 7 Plus, which are shorts, which give you details on characters and just things in general. Fantastic. Again, so far from what I've seen, Galaxy Express and Macross 7, with Reiji Matsumoto, the absolute masterpiece he's ever made is Galaxy Express 999. That is his masterpiece. It is the best. It is his magnum opus. It is everything. And I think that now, I know that Shoji Kawamori's masterpiece magnum opus is Macross 7. And it's weird, right? They both have the most content in their respective, things, right? And they're the best of the best of, their circle of things. Like, in the entire Regiverse, Galaxy Express is the best one he's ever made. Queen Millennia is at number 2. It's a very close second. Captain Harlock is number 3, and Yamato's at number 4. One day I will explain my feelings on Galaxy Express, Queen Millennia, and all that stuff, but Macross 7 is Shoji Kawamori's Macross masterpiece. I don't know what else he's done other than Macross, but it's his Macross masterpiece. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff, man. I can't get enough of it. And yeah, I could, this was just like a ramble. This wasn't anything. I didn't have a script or anything. I've never done this kind of video before. And again, one day I will do Macross 7 and many, many, many other things justice by making very detailed, well-edited videos, backing up my claims, showing evidence, video clips with subtitles and everything. I will do it all because these things that I love, that I know that mean something, they are misunderstood, and I want to change people's minds about these things because I think that I can. These things are, Macross 7 means a lot to me. It was so good, and I want people to understand why it's objectively the best Macross ever made, and they're never going to do it again. I don't think Shoji Kawamori is capable of doing it again, but I think he's aware of what he did because he references it all the time. And plus, again, there was that whole FB7. It was like an hour and a half long in 2012 with the Macross Frontier crew. Great stuff. And yeah, again, one day I will do these things justice. One day. And they're going to be very long reviews, longer than this one, in fact, because all I'm doing is rambling with no notes, no script, no anything. This is just a pure ramble that I've been wanting to get out of my chest for months. weeks, days, months, because that's how much it means to me. And I just need to get it out of my chest because I think about it all the time. I'm like, dude, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this, have people watch it, even though no one's going to watch this video probably. And who knows, maybe this will make my channel blow up. Who knows? But the thing is, dude, I have to get these things out of my chest because I just think about it all the time, and it's just like annoying because I want people to hear me say it. That's like, the really cool thing about, the about now with the internet. You can tell a bunch of people what you think, and they'll listen to you, I guess. It's not like a long time ago where basically your thoughts were just kept to yourself or among friends, not to like literally millions of people out there. I can hear your opinions. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Currently I have 50 minutes and 52 seconds, and it's currently 7:05 p.m. October 7th, 2025 on a Tuesday. And yeah, that's it, guys. 51 minutes and 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Bye.